The legacy of Tupac Shakur. What do you think? Was he a poetic revolutionary, or was he unfortunately just another thug who died tragically? You know, for those of us who lived during the Tupac era, you know, we have very different perceptions of who he was. You know, me, myself, I'm from the South Bronx, New York. I was, musically speaking, more into the East Coast style of music. You know, I enjoyed Biggie's flow. But in fact, I was actually in the Navy in California when Tupac first came out in the early 90s. So I seen the loyalists, the early people who were really into Tupac's music. Tupac, of course, came out with more of a positive black image, positive black message in his music. You know, talking about Brenda's had a baby, addressing social ills, concerns of our community. You know, keep your head up, positive, inspirational stuff. But it wasn't until, you know, I got my mind on my money, money on my mind, finger on the trigger, hand on my nine. That Tupac is when he really went to the next level in his career. You know, when he started representing that thug life and became more of that controversial figure, that his record sales went up. So Tupac, being human like any other of us, you know, when you see opportunity to make more money, you're kind of at a crossroad. You become torn between your integrity and what I truly represent and truly stand for and want to be known for. Comes the conflict with, how do I fatten my pockets? How do I improve my quality of life? How do I help my family? You know, sometimes our motivations are good, but what we do to get that money sometimes become very gray area to do that. So, you know, Tupac at that stage of his career was faced with that decision. And obviously, record labels want to see you sell money, so sometimes you have external outside influences as well, pushing you to do a certain style and type of music because, hey, that's what's hot, that's what's selling, that's what's making us money. The label wants to make the most money they can. The artist wants to make the most money they can. They got agents, they got all types of staff who are all need to be fed as well with those record sales. So, you know, we know from artists and groups like Public Enemies, the KRS-Ones, the Arrested Developments, the Dead Presidents, you know, even NWA to some degree, who try to talk about what's going on in the black community, have to, you know, kind of walk that fine line of, am I simply reporting what's going on and bring it to the attention of the world, or am I helping to, you know, promote and propagate more of what's going on, the negative things in that community? So again, my question to you and those who are watching is, what is your perception? What do you think the legacy of Tupac Shakur is? You know, very talented individual, musically, you know, actor, multi-talented, just had that dynamic personality, that charisma. But the more controversial he became, the more fascinated we became with him. Of course, when the beef between the East Coast and West Coast, Bad Boy, Death Row, Biggie, Smalls, Tupac Shakur reached a head, is when he was at an all-time high and was selling the most records ever. What do you do with that? I don't know. And obviously, you know, with rape charges, going to jail, all that just put him on that superstar status. You know, there was rumblings and rumors that Tupac was growing weary and tired of that lifestyle and the violence and the things going on with that. Maybe he wanted to move on to something else. We unfortunately don't know, and we'll never know. You know, it would have been very nice and interesting to see the evolution of Tupac. You know, what would he have looked like as a 40-something-year-old man, you know, who may have, you know, had a wife and had children and you know, being able to be a father to that. You know, as a man who has responsibilities, we start to look at the world very differently and start to make decisions very differently according to that lifestyle, you know. So my question to you, how do you think Tupac will be remembered? You know, in light of the movie that's out right now on Tupac's life, All Eyez On Me. You know, I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure many of you haven't seen it yet, but maybe we'll go see it. I'll probably get around to seeing it as well. It'll be interesting to see how they portray him. But regardless of how the movie may portray him, those of us who were around to see him prior to the movie and know what we saw in the magazines and the news reportings, you know, and listening to that music, developed a certain perception of him. Whether you're a fan or not a fan, you know, we all have a certain perception of who Tupac was. So my question for today, and I look forward to your thoughts, your comments, your feedback, you know, what is the legacy of Tupac? Revolutionary, thug, a little of both, or none of the above? Look forward to your thoughts. Peace.